A cool and surprising fact is that Africa influenced the religions of East Asia. Even though East Asian cultures created their own unique religions, they have roots in Africa today. We'll explore how ancient Egypt, an African civilization, influenced East Asia. We'll learn about a religion called vitalism from Africa, a philosophy called Ma'at, and the African ancestry of Asia's first people. We'll also see how African traditions impacted the early Indus Valley civilization. This will give us a new way to see the connections between Africa and East Asia. Long ago, black people from East Africa moved to Asia in groups starting about 89,000 to 100,000 years ago. One of these groups was the Dravidians, known for their black skin and straight hair. They came from the Nubian area, which includes parts of South Sudan, Egypt, and Ethiopia. Osiris, also called User, is believed to have led the Dravidians from Nubia to India. There, they started the Indus civilization about 4,600 years ago, bringing African culture with them. These African peoples' influence in Asia grew through trade and politics with Egypt and Nubia until about the 3rd century AD. This long-standing presence is why many religious beliefs in East Asia today are similar to those in Africa, like respecting ancestors. Around 3,800 years ago, white people from Eurasia called Aryans came and took over the Indus civilization, creating Hinduism. Hinduism is a mix of the beliefs of these new arrivals and the black Dravidians who were already there. Hinduism shares some beliefs with the Dravidians and black Africans. They believed in one god, with both female and male aspects that could appear in different forms. This god, like in African beliefs, brought order from chaos, creating life and the world. The Dravidians, like the Egyptians, worshipped cows, bulls, and had a social system where everyone was respected as a human being. Understanding Asian religions means learning about the African idea called the Third Way, which is important in these beliefs. The Egyptians believed the universe is made of opposing yet balancing elements like good and evil, day and night, woman and man. These elements are connected, like the sun and moon. They believed God created these opposing elements from the beginning of time, called Horus and Seth. This God-like in African beliefs brought order from chaos, creating life and the world. Similarly, the Fani people say, God made the sun and moon by opening and closing his eyes. Every person has both a lunar and a solar side, and the goal is to balance these two and find a third way. This idea of dual nature and the third way is seen in Egyptian gods like Sekhmet and Bes, depicted with 2 pairs of arms and 3 heads. Ramses I, the founder of the 19th dynasty, is shown in a yoga pose meant to guide energy from the bottom to the top of the body. This idea is the origin of the caduceus, a symbol used in medicine, adopted by Western civilizations from ancient Greek and Egyptian cultures. This energy movement is symbolized by a serpent reaching the forehead, which is why pharaohs like Tutankhamun and Amenhotep III, often depicted with a serpent on their foreheads. Enlightenment is also represented by a red sun symbol on the forehead between the eyes, called the third eye. This third-way principle was shared by the Dravidians of the Indus Valley, seen in depictions of the god Shiva with 3 faces and in a yoga pose. The Dravidians practiced the totemic cult of the cow and the bull, originating from the Egyptian cult of Hathor. Mara Man and Krishna, 2 black and feminine gods, and Brahma, a god of Hinduism, with white Aryan inspiration but depicted with 2 pairs of arms, 3 heads, and the African sun symbol behind, have a third eye on the forehead, called bindi by Hindus. The Egyptian Dravidian influence is evident here. The famous veneration of the cow in Hinduism was transmitted by the Dravidians and has its source in the Egyptian cult of Hathor. In Hinduism, there's a story about Krishna, a special child born after a divine message was given to his parents by Vishnu, a major deity. This idea is similar to an Egyptian story where Thoth, a messenger of the god of men, tells Isis she will have a divine son, Horus, to bring order. This type of story, where a divine child is announced, also appears in Roman writings about the birth of Jesus Christ. There are also similarities between Hindu and Egyptian stories. In Hinduism, there's a tale of Shiva grieving his wife Sati, who is reincarnated as Parvati. In a similar Egyptian story, Osiris is killed, and his grieving wife Isis searches for his body parts, leading to his resurrection. Hindu philosophy emphasizes the importance of artha, a principle that keeps the world in order. Ignoring artha would lead to chaos. Similarly, in Egypt, Mat is the concept of order, and ignoring it would also lead to chaos. In both cultures, practicing these principles is vital for maintaining balance in the world, and the lotus flower is a shared symbol of fertility. We will now turn our attention to Buddhism. Buddhism was founded by Siddhartha Gautama, believed to have been born around the 6th century BCE. While some think he was an Egyptian priest who escaped Persian invasion, the more common belief is that he was born in the Himalayan region of Nepal. One important point often made is that Buddha was black. In China, there's a 2,100-year-old site called the Cave of 1,000 Buddhas in northern China and another 1,700-year-old cave in Gansu. These places show Buddha with the third eye on his forehead. They also indicate the presence of black kings in that region of China around that time. About 3 centuries after Gautama's death, Indian Emperor Ashoka helped spread his teachings. Buddha's birth is described as miraculous, similar to the story of Horus in Egyptian mythology, with his mother dreaming of a white elephant announcing the birth of a special child. Buddhism focuses on achieving enlightenment through meditation, controlling breath, and practicing natural goodness, or dharma. Like African vitalism, it's about finding inner balance. Buddhists' purpose is to become enlightened and reach nirvana. The Buddhist Sutra's 42 articles are compared to the 42 principles of Ma'at in Egyptian culture. Buddhist monks' practices resemble those of Egyptian priests, with shaved bodies and linen garments, and their main possessions being a bowl and a dress. Taoism is a spiritual philosophy founded by Lao Tzu, who lived around the same time as Buddha in the 6th century BCE. At that time, China had a significant black population. Taoism teaches that the universe was created from a primal energy called qi. From qi emerged yin and yang, which are opposite yet complementary forces found in everything. The first creations from qi were feng, meaning air, and shui, meaning water. The universe operates according to certain laws that bring order and harmony, known as the Tao. This idea is similar to ancient Egyptian beliefs, where the world was created by a god named Atum, or a moon, using a primal energy called Ra. From Ra came Horus and Seth, also opposite and complementary forces. Ra's first creations were Shu, meaning air, and Tefnut, meaning water. And so, the laws governing the orderly universe were known as Ma'at. In Taoism, yin and yang are represented in the familiar black and white circle, similar to the Egyptian concepts of Shu and Horus. The line dividing yin and yang resembles a snake, symbolizing the search for enlightenment, and the circle itself, reminiscent of the sun. Like Ma'at, the Tao is about doing good and living in harmony with the universe. Practicing Tao helps balance yin and yang and leads to self-realization and enlightenment. Taoism also influences architecture. The Chinese practice of feng shui is to align buildings with the universe's order, similar to ancient African architecture. For example, the Great Pyramid in Egypt aligns with the Earth's poles and the Orion constellation, reflecting this harmony with the universe. As we continue to explore the mysteries of the cosmos, may we find inspiration in the ancient wisdom of astrotheology and the enduring quest for meaning in the universe. So don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. And thank you for joining me.